In the media conference, the Minister of Health said 11 of the new cases found to be related to the religious or tabligh gathering in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Case 26, who is a 46-year-old local woman, is the wife of case 12. She has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur and has no symptoms of the infection. Case 27 is a 21-year-old man who is the son of case 12. He has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur and complained for Joint Act today. Case 28 is a 25-year-old man who is also the son of case 12 and has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur. He has no symptoms of infection. Case 29 is a 16-year-old local man who is also the son of case 12. He has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur and experienced fever and runny nose starting from 9 of March 2020. Case 30 is a 13-year-old girl who is the daughter of case 12. She has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur and has no symptoms of the infection. Case 31 is a local man aged 64 who has history of travel to Indonesia and Malaysia. He flew to Kuala Lumpur through Labuan on the 17th of February 2020 and continued the journey to Yogyakarta, Indonesia. He returned to Brunei Darussalam through Kuala Lumpur by transit on 4th of March 2020 and subsequently on board a Asia flight AK5175 to Labuan. He returned from Labuan on the same day. He experienced coughing since 10th of March 2020. Case 32 is a 25-year-old local woman who is the wife of case 19. She has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur and has no symptoms of the infection. Case 33 is a 39-year-old man who is a brother to case 13. He has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur and has no symptoms of the infection. Case 34 is a 2-year-old girl who is the niece of case 13. She has no history of travel to Kuala Lumpur and has no symptoms of the infection. Case 35 is a 60-year-old local man who was also at the religious tabligh gathering in Kuala Lumpur from the 28th of February to 3rd of March 2020. He then flew to New Delhi, India on 4th of March 2020 with 3 other friends who also attended the religious gathering in Kuala Lumpur. He returned to the country on Royal Brunei flight BI874 C27K on 11 March 2020. He started showing symptoms of coughs and runny nose today. The 3 other friends are currently abroad and are advised to undergo laboratory test for COVID-19 as soon as possible wherever they are. Case 36 is a 56-year-old local man who also joined the religious gathering in Kuala Lumpur. He returned to the country on 5th of March 2020 on BI278 flight and has symptoms of fever, cough and runny nose on 7th of March 2020. Case 37 is a 28-year-old local woman with no travel history to religious tabligh gathering in Kuala Lumpur. However, she attended a religious tabligh gathering on 5th of March 2020 in the country, which was also participated by congregants joining the religious tabligh gathering in Kuala Lumpur. The Minister of Health informs the public that all cases are currently being treated at the National Isolation Centre are in good condition and stable, not suffering from fever at this time and not requiring respiratory assistance. The Minister of Health is still actively conducting investigation for each case. So far, a total of 523 people have been instructed to undergo the quarantine under the Infectious Disease Act Chapter 204. Meanwhile, since the outbreak of COVID-19 began in early January 2020, a total of 478 laboratory tests for COVID-19 were carried out, which covered 319 people. The Minister of Health would like to inform the public that all of the 75 locals who had attended the tabligh gathering in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and currently in Brunei Darussalam have undergone laboratory tests for COVID-19. Of this number, 18 people were found to be positive, 51 negative, while 6 are still awaiting for the test results. All of them are undergoing quarantine at a sports village or under treatment at a National Isolation Centre. Meanwhile, out of 10 people who are still abroad, 1 of them is a Brunei citizen studying in Malaysia, which has been informed to carry out a laboratory test in Malaysia and was found to be negative. Efforts are still underway to detect 9 other people. The total of Brunei Darussalam citizens that have been in the tabligh gathering in Kuala Lumpur so far is 85 people. Taking into account the situation of COVID-19 infection in Brunei Darussalam now, as well as advice given by the World Health Organization (WHO), the Minister of Health would like to inform the public that all public events or mass gatherings, including weddings and sport events, are temporarily not permitted. His Majesty the Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam has consented for the cancellation of this year's Isra Mi'raj celebration. Meanwhile, members of the public are advised to practice social distancing measures such as do not shake hands, avoid from sitting near with other people at public places, and avoid visiting crowded places, especially to high-risk people with chronic diseases such as diabetic, cardiovascular, kidney disease, respiratory and cancer, pregnant women, as well as senior citizens. The Ministry of Health also seek the public cooperation in these matters, to provide accurate information if contacted by the health staff and to be courteous to them, as well as to adhere to the given instructions. To avoid the hospitals or any places where contact and investigation are being carried out, to avoid overcrowding and to protect ourselves from exposure to the infection, particularly those with no purpose to be at the area. To use the health advice line correctly and wisely. Since the COVID-19 outbreak in the country, the health advice line has received over 700 calls. Companies and departments management are requested not to send their personnel for COVID-19 laboratory test screening without instruction from the Ministry of Health. Meanwhile, the Royal Brunei Police Force has found the 4 Bruneian and handed them over to the Minister of Health following the request of assistance from the ministry. They were among the locals who attended the public religious gathering in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and have not turned up for health check and COVID-19 test. For more information and latest progress, visit the Minister of Health's website at www.moh.gov.bn or contact Health Advice Line at 148.
Alhamdulillah, kesemua mereka ini sedang menjalani kuarantin di perkampungan Sokan atau berada di dalam rawatan di pusat pengasingan kebangsaan. Sementara itu, daripada 10 orang yang masih berada di luar negara, seorang daripadanya